The NCAA, North Central College, and the College Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, spectators, or team representatives, as well as public intoxication and consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages and tobacco products are grounds for removal from the stadium and other disciplinary action. Introducing today's starting lineups. First, for the Redmen. Number 1, Zarek Rodriguez. Number 2, Samuel Rikowski. Number 12, Matt Curran. Number 14, Luke Seagal. Number 17, Jack Devaney. Number 23, Brody Ostrup. Number 24, Andy Zune. Number 26, Liam O'Connor. Number 41, Colin Poistras. Number 42, Ethan Flight. And now, the starting lineups for your North Central College Cardinals. Number 1, Nick Pardo. Number 3, Chris Ivy. Number 5, Sean Tamanari. Number 6, Stephen Foe. Number 7, Danny Boyle. Number 9, John Fitzgerald. Number 19, Jacob Gray. Number 22, Stephen Dale. Number 24, Tanner James. Number 43, Dylan Koss. North Central's assistant coaches are Blake Keenan and Nolan Miller. The head coach of the Cardinals is Jason Farrell. Fans, at this time, we ask you to please rise and face the flag at the south end of the field as we honor America with the playing of the national anthem.
Hello, welcome everybody to Benedict Worley Stadium on the campus of North Central College. Kevin Jackman alongside Zach Bucher for this Cardinal lacrosse game as they host the Redmen from Carthage College. North Central enters 6-9, 2-3 in the CCIW. Carthage 11-5, 3-2 in conference play. And this is for all the marbles, Zach. And if the Cardinals win, they could potentially be in. If they lose, this is the end of the year. You kind of live for games like this if you're an athlete.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Having been an athlete myself, this is competition at its highest level. You win and you give yourself a chance to head to the postseason, and that's what players live for. So what they have to do is they got to get the job done, plain and simple.
So here's the deal with the tiebreaker, because it's obviously you never want to write off a game, but Augustana has taken on Elmhurst today, and Elmhurst over the course of the season has been a clear-cut favorite atop the conference right alongside Illinois Wesleyan. Both teams have 5 wins already. Elmhurst is 5-1. The Titans are 5-0. So Elmhurst and Augustana are playing. You would expect that Elmhurst would win. Augustana would then fall to 3-3. So should the Cardinals be able to beat the Redmen today, they both would move to 3-3. There'd be a 3-way tie for the number 3rd and 4 spots in the pending conference tournament. And then it's up to point differential. So the teams have to figure out that particular equation, and the top 2 teams with the best point differential are in. That 3rd team is on the outside looking in. So with that said, it's Carthage with the game's first possession. And this Redmond team has been pretty good so far this year, 11-5, and a little bit more seasoned than this North Central team. There's certainly more upperclassmen. There's a few seniors involved. And in fact, you actually turned to me earlier and go, there's no senior day activities. I said, yeah, there's no seniors. The program's only in its 2nd year of existence. There are some juniors that transferred in, but no seniors for the Cardinals to recognize today. It just seems like they have some veteran members because they have some guys that are pretty poised.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players on this squad for the Cardinals that do a good job of playing defense and really getting the offense going. We saw the other night Noah Perrell, although he's only a sophomore, he does really well. Had a standout game with 7 goals, I believe. And then Tanner James, he's one of the juniors you spoke of. He had an incredible game alongside Perrell.
That's a goal for Carthage right off that opening faceoff, put in by Andy Zune, 5'10" junior from Winnipeg, Canada. And he gets this game rolling. The first score of our contest comes 1 minute and 21 seconds in.
And this is how North Central got off to a really good start against Dubuque, and they just really ran away with the game. They won face-offs consistently and quickly got into their offense and scored fast and efficiently. So hopefully they can answer back here.
It's largely been left up to Jacob Ray to win those face-offs, and it looks like Carthage is going to take a second straight. But Ray's been very good so far this year as Redmond on the prowl, moving the ball decisively around, and it's another goal put in. This time Ethan Flight. And the Redmond lead 2-0. That goal coming not even 20 seconds after the first.
And that was just a case of really good ball movement. They won the draw, and they immediately ran into their offense and tic-tac-toe, and they have another goal.
So another face-off. The Cardinals looking for their first offensive possession. And again, it's Carthage looking to take control. And it's awarded to the North Central Cardinals with Jacob Ray pleading his case to the officials and able to convincingly make his case.
And now this is where you have to capitalize if you're the Cardinals. Obviously a couple of quick goals by the Redmen, and you need to respond.
Pardo gives off. He gets it over to Tommy Huizinga. He'll give off and find Noah Perrell, who you mentioned earlier had that fantastic game, 7 goals. And he'll work his way behind the net. Beautiful day on hand here at Benedetti Worley Stadium. The sun is out and shining brightly as Danny Boyle puts a shot on net, and that was rejected. And now a ground ball fought for, and the Cardinals getting manipulated and pushed around, but finally coming out with it is Perrell. And Boyle, for all his ability and shifting abilities, he can get pushed around a little bit because of his 5'5" frame.
Yeah, but he is definitely no slouch out there. He may be one of the shorter guys on the field, but he definitely plays above what you might think of for a player of his stature.
Zarek Rodriguez is in net, playing well in the early going for Carthage. Passes out of bounds, given to North Central.
These are the kind of mistakes that you're going to have to capitalize on if you're the Cardinals. Obviously coming off a pretty good win against Dubuque, but this Redmond team is no laughing matter. It started the season with 5 straight wins, and they're coming off an equally as impressive win against Carroll, 21-5.
Shot is blocked again by Rodriguez. Ball loose in front of the net, picked up by the Redmond. Popped loose, but nobody there to take advantage. And again, popped loose. And the Cardinals will take it. Tenacious on that end of the field.
Yeah, they're showing a lot of tenacity, like you mentioned. On the defense, it's just unfortunate the 2 goals have gotten in. It's just been better offense in that case.
Cardinals have had some good looks, but Rodriguez has made a couple of nice stops. That one's out the back of the end zone. If you're curious, by the way, there's a lot of lines on this field. And a timeout taken by Carthage, interestingly enough. The field, for our intents and purposes today, is a faint pinkish line. It's not the yellow, that's the soccer field, and it's certainly not the white, that's the football field. So look for the pinkish line across. You'll see that around the creases, and you'll see it on the sidelines as well. With that all said, we'll take a break as the timeout has been taken by Carthage. We'll take one too. We'll be right back on NCTV 17. .11:07 to go here in the first quarter, and the Cardinals trail the Redmond by a 2-0 score. Again, we'll continue to plug this particular storyline, but win, Cardinals are in. Lose, and they're decisively out of the conference tournament. This is the season's final game. The Cardinals have to try and match the Redmond's conference mark at 3-3, and to do so, they have to take a win here today. Another stop by Rodriguez in net, and he is flashing some real potential. Just a freshman, hails from Texas.
But the Cardinals are doing a good job of being aggressive on offense, and with defense, it's gonna help. As long as you keep as long as you keep peppering the goal, something's bound to find a way in.
Rodriguez got a piece of it, but it was sitting just on the other side of that line, and he looked down and he goes, oh no.
Well,
I just gave up my first goal.
That's just one of those where you look down and go, well, crap.
Whoops. 2-1 now, 10:20 to go. Ray back at midfield. So the Cardinals haven't had a lot of success on the faceoffs, but they have had success on the offensive end getting turnovers, which is kind of an odd area of the game to be successful in. As Ray getting boxed out, and the ball popped loose, jarred loose for the moment, still to be claimed, and now it's Carthage thrown back towards midfield. The Cardinals pluck it away. Here they come, and Ray goes down after having a collision at the front, and the ground ball still being fought for near the sideline, and out of bounds it went and belongs to Carthage. Pardo tried to save it.
Just an unfortunate turn of events there after the fall. You had an opportunity with some bad passes from the Redmond, but just didn't end up happening the way you would have liked.
If I'm not mistaken, Carthage already 2 for 2 in offensive possessions. Let's see what they can do here as they make some substitutions and get some offensive firepower onto the field. With it is Luke Sadal. Hands it off to Brody Ilstrup. Working it around the horn. The Cardinal defense is morphing with them as Curran makes a move. And looked like somebody wanted the equivalent of a slap shot from the blue line. And passes that up. And I believe that was a shot on net, so that'll be awarded to the Redmen, picked up by goal scorer Ethan Flight, who put in that second tally for the Redmen. After 2 quick goals, this Carthage team looking pretty patient right now.
Yeah, it seems like they're really settling into we talked about it in the last game. It's kind of awkward to call it a half
court or half
field set, but that's what it's kind of looking like.
And the goal put in by the Redmen. And for the second time, it's Andy Zune who finds the back of the twine. As Dylan Costa net didn't see that as it crossed below the knees. Zune, the leading goal scorer for this Carthage team, now up to 66 goals this season. Also has 29 assists for a team lead 95 points. The team high in points for North Central is Noah Perrell with 53. So Zune is an instrumental part of this Redmen squad, and a big reason why they have 216 goals this year. In comparison, North Central with 177. Another face-off claimed by Carthage, and racing in, and now deferring is Andy Myers. As he goes to the top, back to Sadal. Shot snagged by Cost. Ilstrup thought he had a path to the net, and Cost denies him the chance. Now the Cardinals racing on to the offensive end, and a shot whizzed on net and well out of play. As Tanner James will collect. That was Jared Weaver who let it rip. Don't mind that shot, though, because the Cardinals get it right back.
Right. And the more aggressive they are, the more opportunities you may end up having to get something past and score here.
Weaver finds a cutter in Huizinga, who finds the inside of that pipe. Just inside that far pipe, makes it a 3-2 score.
And it's good that they're responding with the first few goals having been scored by Carthage. But at some point, you're going to have to lock down on defense, and you're going to have to prevent the Redmen from getting on a roll if you have any hopes of taking a lead in this game.
How about the vision there from Weaver as well, who was working behind the net and found a cutting Huizinga through traffic. Impressive stuff. 6:59 to go here in the first quarter. It's a 3-2 score. Carthage with the advantage. And quite frankly, and I'm going to be entirely blunt here as Ray picks up the ground ball, we haven't had a whole lot of barn burners this year at home for you on NCTV 17. A majority of the games, and I should just say all the games, have been blowouts.
So far, yeah.
So far. The women have been unbelievably explosive on the offensive end, and the men have taken care of business as well. They beat Adrian 21-3 at the end of May, and they beat Dubuque just the other day 19-4. So we really haven't seen either one of these teams, the men or the women's team, tested in a legitimate game here at Benedetti Worley Stadium. So today's pretty exciting. Yeah,
you have to, and especially with the meaning behind today's game as well for the men. If you win, you put yourself in a good spot to where everyone else needs to have more goals than you, essentially, and you put yourself in a spot to make the conference tournament. So to see a score 3-2 with a little under 7 minutes to go in the first quarter, it's not something we've seen very often. By this point, there's 7-8 goal differential. So we might be in for quite the spectacle this afternoon.
I'm okay with that. By the way, down, or I should say up, in Waukesha, Wisconsin, the Cardinals are taking on the Pioneers from Carroll. And right now the score is 1-1 midway through the first half. It's an extremely low-scoring game. Cardinals are without Jessica Dietjen as this game gets back in progress, and Weaver! Holy moly! Spinorama puts it top left shelf past Rodriguez and makes it a 3-3 game. Hey now.
We got ourselves a game, especially if the Cardinals can keep playing the way they have been. Been aggressive on transition defense, and now they've won a couple of draws and right back in this game.
I think you said it perfectly right at the top. The Cardinals are going to be reliant on this guy right here, Jacob Ray, at winning faceoffs, because whoever gets the more or gets more possessions in this game is probably the team that's going to win it.
Especially with how methodical it looks like the Redmen have been on offense so far, willing to take their time to get a good shot.
Cardinals make a substitution to get Stephen Foe into the mix. Out in front, and Cost blocks it. Cardinals take it away. Shot put on goal by Ben Morgan. And now NCC controls it and can take the lead for the first time this afternoon. 5:33 to go here in the first quarter. 3-3 the score, North Central and Carthage. On a picture-perfect day, the Cardinals have a 4-3 lead. Nick Pardo. Pardon me, but I'll take this goal.
Lots of aggressive offense so far. We said it from the beginning. They got to come out here and they got to get it done. They're the ones playing from behind at this point. Not talking about the score, but in the standings. So they have Carthage at this point, given what you've told me about how many goals they've scored and just how good Zune is compared to where the Cardinals are, the Cardinals need to win. And that's the bottom line. Where Carthage, they might be able to afford a loss or be able to play not their best here today.
That shot too tall for Cost to take down. Let's talk about the conference losses for Carthage, because for comparison's sake, it's often a useful exercise to look at common opponents and see where each team fell. Let's face it, Illinois Wesleyan is by far the best team in conference. I don't think anybody can argue that. I don't think anybody would argue that. They beat North Central 28-9. The Titans then beat Carthage 30-10. As it's now a 4-4 game. The goal put in by Morgan. However, against Elmhurst. The Cardinals lost 16-8. This Carthage team only lost 9-5, which tells me that their defense seemed to have had a better day against the Blue Jays than the Cardinals had. So it's interesting that the Cardinals have already found their way to 4 goals this afternoon against a team that only gave up 9 to Elmhurst, who's second in the conference right now at 5-1.
I mean, the other day when this Cardinal team was playing Dubuque, it seemed like they were just out for blood. They were playing extremely well on both sides of the ball. Good defense, good offense, efficient offense. And it seems like they're really trying to carry that over into today, which is what they're going to need to do to get it done here.
Cardinals control, and Cost coming some 30 yards out of the net, lofts it in, gets it into the offensive half of the field. Weaver winds up and fires it in. Ring it up. Snipes that top right corner.
And this is what you got to do if you're the Cardinals. You have to score quickly, and you got to score often. Try and grab some sort of momentum, and they're doing a really good job of passing the ball and finding the open man.
Weaver's having a heck of an afternoon right now. So far for him, 2 goals and an assist. North Central women now lead 2-1. 16 minutes to go in the first half. Nearly won by the Cardinals and just lost by Ray off the sideline. Tough break. Ooh, almost taken away by Pardo. Under 4 to play here in the first quarter. Good defense on display from John Fitzgerald. Not allowing Morgan into the lane. Cardinals making a switch on defense. So a lot of people compare these two sports, basketball and lacrosse. You pick, you have a zone defense, you have responsibilities, you got assignments. The movement is very similar, obviously. The playing surface is much different, but a lot of the concepts are the same.
Yeah, you see a lot of offensive players setting screens, and you see people driving lanes. It's all very similar in how the offense functions.
Shot just left wide. Carthage still has it.
Come
1v1 Fitzgerald up against Seidel. And a faked pass, shot on goal, bounces in. Ilstrup, second leading scorer for this Carthage team, knots the game back up at 5.
And so far, that just seems to be the case sometimes on these offensive possessions for the Redmen. They just have better offense than the Cardinals can put out defense. Because they're doing a good job of cutting off the lanes and getting bodies on players. Some of these shots just bounce in the way of the Redmen.
(5-5), 2:13 to go, and the faceoff won by the Redmen. A lot of fans here in attendance today, and why not? Mid-50s, sunny, perfect Saturday to take in a lacrosse game. Right down in Champion Plaza here at North Central College. Carthage again displaying some patience, turning down a shot for the shot. And a gamble does not pay off for Foe, but able to recover. And a takeaway for North Central, Fitzgerald with it.
Good help defense there, leads to a turnover. Can't be too upset with that.
Kendall Reed was over there, and Carthage saving it from going out of bounds. Reed. And Reed will come off, I believe, in a moment as soon as he can get rid of the ball. I think Noah Perrell's waiting to get in, chomping at the bits. Not yet. It says Weaver, and now Pardo. I think that Perrell comes in. Lost momentarily out in front of the net. And Perrell able to track it down. I don't know how it wound up 30 yards away from the net. Somebody must have booted it. Perrell surveying. And the pass is wide, or was that a pass or a shot attempt? Does not matter. First quarter has come to a close, and boy, was it a good one. 5-5 after 15 minutes. Second quarter on the way. We'll be right back on NCTV 17.
Try to kill your grandmother sitting all the way up here? Huh? What you trying to do? Huh? Reservations. How are you, Ken? Hello. That was fun. Why didn't somebody know about this? That's deadly. I forgot what's I got to put some water on it.
Second quarter just about underway. 15 minutes put back up on the clock, and what a busy day for North Central Athletics. Not only do we have a men's lacrosse game here, as there's a wipeout on the field. Taking a tumble is Andy Myers. And now ground ball picked up by Boyle. But not only do we have a men's game here, the women are playing at Carroll and lead 3-2 in the first half. Right across the way, the men's baseball team, let me rephrase that, the baseball team has a doubleheader, while the softball team has a doubleheader out at Augustana. And on top of all of that, the men's and women's track and field teams are in action. The men are at the Drake Relays in Iowa. The women's team is in Whitewater. Holy smokes.
That's a whole lot of sports on this beautiful Saturday.
I think we'll take this over a mid-March game when it was 20 degrees.
Wait, we had a March this year?
No, we skipped straight from January to now May. And there was no in-between. Huizinga with it, playing keep away, and rips one on goal. Rodriguez snags it on one knee. Canyon Smith hands off, and now comes off. Gives way to an offensive-minded player. And that would be that man right there, Lucas Seidel. Zuhn's been quiet of late as he lingers in front of the net, shadowed by North Central Sean Tamanari.
And while he has been quiet, Cardinals have made their comeback. So defense doing a good job of keying in on him and making him a non-factor.
Behind the net it goes. And the ball loose and on the ground. Fitzgerald battling for it. And it's claimed by Ilstrup. Cardinal defense without one of its veteran members. Brandon Pearl was involved in an altercation against the University of Dubuque and has been suspended for this contest. And the goal put top shelf by Carthage, and it's now 6-5.
Just another case of good offense beating out the defense. Good cut down the middle, good find by the Redmen.
Colin Poitras credited with the goal. So now the Redmen with the advantage as we go back and forth. Quite frankly, I'm just excited we have a legitimate contest on our hands today. This is what it's all about. North Central, 2-3 in conference. The Redmen are 3-2. And this is the final game of the regular season. Should the Cardinals win, they could potentially be in the conference tournament. If they lose, they are decidedly out of it. Ball picked up just before that 30-yard line by Liam O'Connor. Patience again shown by the Redmen. I don't see Zuhn out there for this sequence.
I believe I did see him a few seconds ago walk off. Possibly to get a breather.
Low shot and never got to the goal. It got the lower leg of one of the Cardinal defensemen. And now Huizinga met by a wall, but a penalty on Carthage. Or was it a timeout taken?
Looks like timeout.
Timeout, North Central.
So North Central and Jay Farrell will talk it over, and we'll stop talking. We'll be right back in a minute on NCTV 17. Jay Farrell able to sneak in a timeout before what looked to be like a turnover for North Central. James with it behind the net. He's been a non-factor today. Carthage has been able to neutralize one of the Cardinals' best attackers. Pardo trying to back his way in.
But luckily for the Cardinals, they've had a few other players step up to the plate and knock in some goals here today.
Including Jared Weaver. Been ripping shots on net. That falls out of his pocket and still loose in the back of the end zone. And hold on a second. It's going to be Carthage ball. That one hurts. It's a mental lapse.
Yeah, that's one of those turnovers that you can't really afford. It was unforced and just poor timing.
Ten minutes to go here in the first half. 6-5, Redmond lead here at North Central. Coming around the corner and the ball stripped loose. Colin Poitras had it poked away. Now the Cardinals have it. Fitzgerald past midfield, and he gets swamped. And he's able to dish it off. Stephen Foe. For a second, I thought he was going to let it go.
That would have been quite the shot from that far out.
And especially from somebody who's not typically in on the offensive side of the field. Perro with it. Perro's defender falls down. James and the Cardinals trying to take advantage. Shot up, and Rodriguez had it, but it was trickling out before the Carthage defense able to collect. Oh! Pardo was knocked down. Rodriguez and Pardo were battling for what looked like a pop-up on the infield. And the Cardinals cannot take advantage of it. Canyon Smith past midfield. Carthage with a timeout. Can you tell these two teams really want to win this game? We'll be right back on the other side on NCTV 17. Out of the timeout, Carthage with it. 7:55 to go in the second quarter. Good one here on hand at Benedetti Worley Stadium on the campus of North Central College. And out in front of the net and unable to complete that exchange. It was bobbled. And now the Cardinals take over. Foe had it taken away, and he goes down in a heap. It looked like he was waiting for a flag. And miscue gives NCC the ball right back. It's been a little sloppy of late. Have you noticed this as well?
Yeah, it's been two teams going at it, battling for possession of the ball, and making some mistakes here and there, but so far only one goal scored amongst the two in the first 8 minutes of I almost said half, of the second quarter.
Huizinga with a couple of nice moves. Now hands off to Weaver, and Weaver high. He got one of those in the first quarter. He's got some mustard on that ball.
That he does.
Wind picking up here inside the stadium. Harrell backing up and now goes. Cardinals just very patiently waiting for something to develop.
They really want to try and tie this game up again. Try and possibly get some momentum going their way.
Perrell's shot is off the side of the net. Rodriguez collects. Long pass to Seidel. A lot of passing. Cardinals staying put, not extending that defense. Some great tic-tac-toe movement. Winds up a goal for Colin Poitras.
If I'm remembering correctly, that's about probably the third goal they've gotten off of a play exactly like that. So Cardinals need to make some sort of adjustment on defense against that, because that is way too easy of a goal to be letting through.
Really tough for Colin, make that Dylan Cost, to stop something that comes across his face not once but twice. There's only so many times you can shift across the crease. Another face-off won by Carthage. Andy Myers claims it. North Central now trails 7-5 here in the first half. Under 5 to play until the break.
This is one of those possessions where if you're the Cardinals, it would benefit you quite a lot if you can get a stop here.
And the shot skyrockets, and that's ticketed for the parking lot down by Chipotle. And that one is also out of bounds. It's like Carthage can smell blood right now.
And that's what I was talking about with trying to get a stop here. It would be extremely important for the Cardinals. After a goal not a minute or two ago by the Redmen, they win the draw control, and now they look to get more. You really got to stop them if you want to get back into this game.
Almost an unforced error there. Oh, another one put right across the crease. This time Flight for a second time. Finds the back of the twine. And it's now 8-5 with under 4 to play in the first half.
And that's a Redmond goal by number 42, Ethan Flight, assisted by number 12, Matt Curran.
Curran with the assist.
It just seems like some miscommunication on defense, because these passes shouldn't be getting through, or they shouldn't be available.
It's now 3 assists for Curran, and yeah, this Redmond team seems to be clicking right now on the offensive end. Good heads-up play for the Cardinals, and net some possession here, maybe. Uh-oh. Ended up working out. The Cardinals have it with Stephen Dale past midfield.
Still relatively early in the game, but this is a pretty important possession if you're the Cardinals.
I get a similar sense. Weaver defers to Boyle. Ray back to Boyle. Weaver thought he might have been able to sidewind that ball in. Cardinals still possessed with 2:14 to go. Sounds like the kind of possession to me, like the Cardinals could and should try and find Tanner James and get him involved.
Yeah, that would probably be beneficial for them, especially with the second half coming up pretty soon, to get him going and be able to be a factor come second half.
Right now, James in the middle has not touched the ball on this possession. Instead, it's Weaver again, and now Boyle battling with Rodriguez in the crease. And Rodriguez banks it off the back of the net and has it. And that's lost off the sideline by the defenseman, Liam Connor, excuse me.
That's just unfortunate for the Redmen. They had that, and now they give it back.
.65 seconds remaining.
1 minute remaining, 1 minute remaining.
And as much as I'm assuming, oh no.
And now it's a turnover, and with 47 seconds left, Carthage could.
Well, what I was going to say is that I'm assuming Cardinals would have liked to run the clock out and make that the last shot of the half, but unfortunately a bad pass gives it back to the Redmen.
And that won't be the case. Half a minute to go. .17 seconds. Bounce pass taken away by North Central, and Fitzgerald will launch it downfield. Oh, no way. Oh. Boyle had a chance.
He did. What was just a heave-ho kind of pass almost turned into something pretty amazing.
Instead, it's an 8-5 score at the break. The Cardinals and the Redmen tied at 5 after 1 quarter. But the Redmen pulling away with 3 goals in the second. And that's our score at the half. We'll be back for the second half in 10 minutes on NCTV 17. Welcome back for the second half of play from Benedetti Worley Stadium. North Central and Carthage engaged in a end-of-season clash that could give one of these two teams a postseason berth. Yeah, there's even the potential for both of these teams to make the conference tournaments and have Augustana as the team left on the outside. Welcome back, Kevin Jackman, Zach Bucher. If you're just joining us or joined us recently, the Cardinals sit 2-3 in conference. Carthage is 3-2. And the simple math is, if the Cardinals win, they tie the Redmen in the standings, as that shot is blocked by Rodriguez, the goalie. If they can tie them in the standings, it comes down to point differential. And we assume today that Elmhurst has a good shot at beating the Vikings, which would drop Augustana to 3-3 as well. So it'd be a three-way tie for the third and fourth spot in the conference tournament, which is coming up in about a week. But that would rely on North Central winning today. And right now, they're behind the 8 ball. Carthage was really good in that second quarter.
Yeah, they did a really good job on defense of shutting down anything and really any attempt that the Cardinals threw at them. And they're really showing that more, well, up until just now. They did a really good job in the second quarter. And it's going to be up to the Cardinals to bounce back as they have shown so far right now.
Noah Perrell with the goal makes it an 8-6 score. And this is where coaching comes in. You go into the half, you just got blanked in the second quarter. You felt really good coming off that first quarter in which you're tied 5-5. So what adjustments are you going to make? And clearly the Cardinals made some sort of adjustment.
Well, the main adjustment that needs to happen is they need to win more draw controls. And that was one of the keys to the Redmen's success in the first half.
They get it again here.
And so if you're the Cardinals, you're not going to win all the draw controls in the second half. That's not how this works most of the time. So now it's going to come down to what adjustments did you make defensively? Because that's what's going to help you lock them down and get you back into the game and back on offense.
Turnovers will be a big thing as well. The Cardinals were very good, and you mentioned this earlier as well, transition defense. As Carthage was moving from defense to offense, it seemed like the Cardinals were picking that as an opportunity to try and take the ball away. Can they do that on the defensive end once the Redmen are firmly entrenched on this half of the field? That is another question. And it's one they're going to have to answer here in the third quarter. Pass across the net, and that's an adjustment right there because that was a goal all 3 times in that second quarter.
Absolutely, and I said it a lot in the first half. It's not like the Cardinals are playing bad defense. They're doing the best that they can and doing a pretty good job of stopping this Redmen team, obviously with only 8 goals. So they're going to make the adjustments. They're going to figure out a way to stop them, and it's just going to be a matter of can they get it done on offense then.
Oh, what a pass put in there by Brody Ilstrup. And the Cardinals defense had no chance of defending against that. Once that ball got through the teeth of the defense, there was nobody on the back end. And that was Colin Poitras with the tally, now a 9-6 score.
And again, just a case of really good offense, although that pass maybe not something you really want to see get through. It went through a lot of defenders, and when you find someone at the back end of the defense, they're going to have an easy shot on goal.
Another face-off won by the Redmen here in the third. Cardinals making some subs on the defensive end. beautiful day here in Naperville. So the river is glistening just behind Benedetti Worldly Stadium. Temperatures hovering mid-50s. Going to get upwards of 80 degrees in a few days. Can you believe that?
What?
Yeah, I know. Summer is almost right around the corner. On Tuesday, I think a high of 79.
Wow. Who wants to go swimming?
Count me in. It's been a long winter.
I'm ready to spend some time outside.
I almost forgot what the sun was. Shining pretty bright today. Is shot put up and high into the air it goes. And Cost had come out of the net. Now he retreats back in between the pipes. Zune with that shot attempt that was picked away by Cost. Long possession for Carthage. Move put on and goal put in by Flight. That was a devastating hesitation move. And it worked to perfection.
With a winning goal by number 12, Matt Curran.
Ten to 6 now with 10-12 to go. And Carthage again comes away from the scrum at midfield with possession. And the Cardinals take it away. Stephen Foe lofts it out in front to Nick Pardo. Pardo across the way, goal slung in and nabbed by Rodriguez. Andy Myers backs it out to Canyon Smith. I'm going to nominate Canyon for the best name of the day.
I agree. When you mentioned him earlier, it definitely caught me off guard.
Oftentimes when people are named after things that aren't typically names, like Apple or Surrey, just out of, I don't know why I pulled those two names out of the hat, but I don't know, they sound kind of bizarre, but Canyon's kind of, it's pretty cool.
Ironically enough, I actually did, when I was in school, I did know someone who went by the name Apple. That wasn't her actual name, but she went by the name Apple.
I wonder how she got that. Probably ate a ton of apples.
You never know.
Carthage back with it with 8:27 to go in the third quarter. Truthfully, people forgot what my first name was in high school.
I wonder why.
Everybody called me Jackman. Goal, Ethan Flight, second straight for him, and now Carthage really starts to pull away at 11 to 6.
Yeah, and this is the point now. If you're the Cardinals, you have to get something done on the offensive end, or you have to start getting some stops on defense. This Redmond team is starting to cruise, and once they put on the cruise control, it may be a sign of the end for the Cardinals.
I'll mention it again. This is the last game of the regular season, and the Cardinals have to win it to try and extend their year into the postseason, just to give themselves a chance at doing so. But right now, the gap is widening. After the Cardinals trailed 2-0, they came back and they actually took a 4-3 advantage. From there, though, it was 5-5 at the end of the first quarter. As you can see on the scoreboard right now, that second quarter was devastating for North Central. They were outscored 3-0, and here in the third, they've been outscored 3-1. Head coach David Neff of Carthage must have seen something offensively that the Cardinals were doing and was able to correct that mistake his defense was making. Because they've been awfully good on that end of the field. Neff in his 10th season at the helm of this Redmond program, he's 105-53. So roughly a 66% win percentage. I think that's pretty good.
I would say so.
Last year, they were the cream of the crop. 16 of 5, 6-0 in conference. Team hails from up in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Beautiful, beautiful campus. Right along the shores of Lake Michigan. Not big into car rides, but oftentimes I will travel for the football team to different schools in the CCIW and outside as well. Went down to St. Louis last year. But my trip up to Kenosha was a nice one. It was just very pretty, very serene.
Yeah, Wisconsin is one of those states. It's a nice getaway for us down here in Illinois. They got a lot of nice amenities there in the state. Some great food that you may not get a chance to.
Cheese.
Yes.
I'm a big cheesehead. Not a Packers fan. Let me just let me clarify that.
You like your cheese.
I like my cheese.
And that would make two of us.
There's a lot of pretty campuses in the conference, though, I will say. There's a penalty called on Boyle, and it's given off to Carthage. Illinois Wesleyan, Wheaton's a pretty campus as well. And, of course, you can call me a homer here, but I love North Central's campus. I know you went to Benedictine, which is right down the road, but you've been in Naperville quite often. What a goal. Hold on, though. No goal. They're going to say he contacted the ground first. Kenyon Smith made contact with the turf before putting that ball in. That's a no-no. The penalty flag flew, though, and now the Cardinals will probably concede a man and play one down. But you've been in Naperville for a while, and what are your thoughts on North Central? It's kind of intertwined with the actual city itself.
Yeah, and that's something that's very alluring about North Central is that you have downtown Naperville, which is a beautiful, beautiful area, literally within walking distance. And it's one of the most frequently hopping places that I've been to, especially on the weekends. But to be honest, when I was making my decision on where I wanted to go to school, North Central was definitely in the top 5 because of where it was located and just how nice the campus is.
Kind of gives you a different vibe as Carthage takes a timeout with 5:54 to go here in the third quarter. 11-6 to score. Redmond with the advantage. Gives a different vibe. And speaking from my own personal experience, kind of like you were just saying, I did campus visits at different universities of different sizes. For instance, Missouri is a school of 50, 60,000. And that is in and of itself its own community.
Yes.
But it's, it's the university is this massive area, and it felt kind of swallowed up. I stepped on foot here in North Central, and it was like everybody knew each other when you were walking around on the campus visits, and not to mention all the nice buildings, and you're right downtown. Just like you said, there's the river that runs through Naperville, and kind of the river front that was cool. So while all these campuses have their own unique features, I think Wheaton is very kind of historic. I think you have a lot of very old but very well-kept buildings. I already mentioned Carthage is right on the shores of Lake Michigan. That has a pretty aesthetic to it as well. I don't know. I just kind of fell in love with this area.
Yeah, and it changes from person to person on what you prefer in your campus per se. when you go on your visits. That was one of the things that, as you mentioned, the community that a campus may give off, that was one of the things that kind of sold BU to me. It was a very small campus, something I hadn't seen before, but it was very nice, very well kept. Everybody knew each other, and it just had a very homey feel to it.
Brody Ilstrup with the goal there to make it a 12-6 score. 5:37 to go in the third. I think there's a lot of similarities between Benedictine and North Central. The only difference is that our football team can wail away at yours, unfortunately for you. Sour. Okay. I joke. I do, but I'm not. I mean, the last time we played, I think it was like 70-7. But on a different note, there are some similarities between the two schools, and Lyle is right next to Naperville, and
literally down the street.
Yeah, we've had some great battles on the men's basketball court in recent years, even on the women's basketball court. Another goal. Andy Myers. And Carthage celebrates accordingly as they lead now 13-6. This one is just about over for North Central, which is really sad after that first quarter was so good.
Yeah, it's really tough to see and to watch. They played so well in the first quarter, getting through the defense, getting their goals quickly and efficiently, reminiscent of their game against Dubuque. But it's just seemed like the Redmen are slowly but surely showing why they're 11-5 and why they were one of the top teams in the conference last year.
Griffin Cleary was in there to win that face-off for the Redmen, but the man who just scored, Myers, has been so good this year. 182 out of 282 at face-offs, and he has been a major reason why the Redmen have this lead right now. He has been fantastic all afternoon. You know, Jacob Ray has been great all season. He just going up against somebody today who is really on fire.
It just seems like over the last few minutes of this game, the Cardinals have just seemed outmatched. They tried to make their adjustments at the half, and for the first couple minutes, it seemed like they were successful in doing so. They had scored and reduced the deficit to only 2, but then the Redmen really got going and showed that they made some adjustments of their own, and they've really ran with it.
Zune puts in a goal at 4:31 mark in the third quarter. 14-6. And when it rains, it pours, and right now it's raining cats and dogs for North Central inside Benedetti Worley Stadium. Just can't seem to slow the momentum of the Redmen. And the Cardinal defense appears to be baffled. Timeout taken. We'll take one too. We'll be right back on NCTV 17. 14-6, 4:31 to go. Third quarter, the Cardinals are starting to let this one slip away slowly but surely, and they need to get something going on the offensive end, but that does not help as Meyer wins another faceoff. And I feel like a bit of a broken record. It's the biggest point where you can look at these two teams and point out a huge discrepancy. It's those faceoff wins, and the Redmen have been phenomenal.
Yeah, they've done an incredible job of winning those draw controls, and especially on the run that they're currently on, it's really tough for a defense to, for one, get scored on, and then you're right back at it again after the draw. So the defense might be getting a little tired at this point. You don't know, but there has to be some sort of adjustment that they can make.
17-6 is the margin in faceoffs that North Central is facing. Carthage has been very good in that department. However, they've also, the Redmen that is, have turned it over 15 times. So the Cardinals have been extremely tenacious on the defensive end and trying to disrupt their movement. But those faceoffs have given the Redmen way more possessions.
Yeah, and you can get as many turnovers as you possibly can if you're the Cardinals, but if you're not capitalizing on them, it doesn't really make a difference.
And near midfield, Pardo trying to claim it for North Central. And they're going to call it an offsides on Pardo. Over and back, apparently, is what that call was. Understandably, Pardo seemed to disagree.
Especially given the circumstances, he's trying to get a possession for his team and basically stripped away from him.
2:28 to go here in the third. Zune has his shot blocked. Carthage recovers it. Ground ball out towards midfield, and it's going to be stopped and picked up by Ilstrup. And Cost, I think, got a piece of that, and it rolls out of bounds. Under a minute and a half to go here in the third. And the shot left high again. Carthage is just shooting at will right now. They're racking up a ton of shots.
And they can afford to.
Yeah, they don't really have an answer right now. And Cost finally claims it for North Central, and they'll get it back after a long time playing defense. .20 seconds remaining. The Cardinals trying to put a goal up on the board for the second time in the quarter. Jared Weaver working, and this could do it. Boy, the Cardinals needed that. Huizinga scores off the feed from Weaver with 13 seconds to go in the third. And for the moment, it stops the bleeding.
It's a Cardinal goal by number 12.
Still a lot of work to be done if you're the Cardinals, but this is definitely a good start and can really potentially get you going. It proves that you can get it done on offense and you can score. So we'll see how the offense reacts after that.
Troy Fumagalli, who is a local football product of Waubonsie Valley, was just drafted in the NFL draft by the Denver Broncos in the 5th round, the 156th overall selection. That's a pretty cool moment. Went to Wisconsin. He's now a Bronco. And his time expires. There's 1 second left. And that'll do it. 3 quarters in the books, 15 minutes remain. Can the Cardinals mount a comeback and make this game interesting? We'll find out when the 4th quarter strikes on NCTV 17. Final stanza of this game and perhaps the North Central Cardinals season. Can the Cardinals make this thing interesting? That would be fun. It's been a long 2 quarters for this North Central team as they've been outscored 9-2 by the Redmen after leaving the first quarter tied at 5. Huizinga bends around the net and has it knocked loose. And it's a turnover. No, it's not. Cardinals with it. Weaver to the top in Pardo. Near side, Peril. Tanner James has been quiet all afternoon as he goes to work. And off the post it goes. And the ball loose in the crease. And the officials trying to sort out this matter. .41 to go here in the 4th quarter. And they'll give it to Carthage. And as you can hear, that is not a fan favorite decision.
given the circumstances, really not a liked call by the fans. They'd like to see the Cardinals get an opportunity to make this a game.
14-7, Carthage with the advantage. The Redmen are 11-5 this year. The Cardinals are 6-9. And here comes NCC. 3-on-2. Boyle had it knocked loose and taken away. And now Rodriguez covers it up. I won't take anything away from Carthage because they simply have been the better team today. But there have been bounces and there have been instances where I feel like one lucky break or even just a break had gone the other way. The Cardinals would have been maybe within 3 or 4 right now as opposed to 7.
I agree. It almost seems like the ball hasn't bounced the Cardinals' way in a few aspects of the game here today.
Keep in mind some of those saves that Rodriguez had nearly going. They were jaw-dropping, point-blank cover-ups. Some of those go in, different game. Couple possessions where they've just had some mental lapse and let the ball hit the turf and it's a turnover. Izinga trying to clear some space and he gets blanketed by Joe Poremba. And a goal for Izinga. And we're within 6. 11:51 to go in the 4th. Not impossible.
No, 6 is a very reachable number. You got to be excited. Got a couple of good goals so far in the 4th, and put a couple more in, and you're right back in this. It's definitely not out of reach.
Everybody hitting the deck. And they're going to call it against North Central. Wow, nice move. And hold on. Timeout taken by, I believe, Carthage. It looks like there's an injured player, and that's Myers on the field. And we'll talk it over. We'll be right back on NCTV 17.
Timeout, Carthage.
.41 to go. And Carthage has possession. Myers came off the field under his own power. Seemed a little limp as Zune shoots it in.
Clearly some frustration from the Cardinals on defense. Probably another miscommunication because Zune was right in the middle of the field, wide open. That should not happen.
Remember, the Cardinals are down Brandon Pearl, who's a junior. suspended for this game because of an altercation in the last contest. That seems to be a relatively big deal. And a whistle gives the Cardinals the ball. Peril gives off to Weaver. 11 to go. Boyle rejected. As Myers is still in the game. Weaver cuts in. Can I get to the net? Now he does, and he puts it past Rodriguez. 15 to 9.
Back to a 6-goal deficit.
Number 18, Jared Weaver.
So they're hanging in there. They're doing their best to try and match whatever the Redmen are doing, but at some point you got to start getting some draw controls or some defensive stops if you're going to get back into this game. I know we've said it a lot, but that's just really the case.
I agree. 10:29 to go here in the fourth. There's still plenty of time.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a matter of making defensive stops. You have to try and keep this Redmond team out of the back of the net. It's a lot easier said than done.
Absolutely.
You also have to win these 50-50 balls. Which Boyle is currently tied up and gets hammered. And Boyle somehow survives. Huizinga! Holy moly!
I'm not quite sure how Boyle kept the ball in his net through all of that. That was incredible. And perhaps just the spark that the Cardinals need.
That was sensational. He was hammered a couple of times.
There were at least 2 flags thrown on that sequence.
Joe Paremba to the penalty box, and the Cardinals will play up a man. They can make this a 4-goal game.
They very well could.
It's going to come down to this face-off. 10 minutes on the dot remaining here in the fourth quarter. 15 to 10, North Central trails. They've scored 2 straight, though. And the face-off won by Meyer. Carthage appears content with wasting the clock.
And with the way the last couple of minutes have gone, I don't blame them. They can see the momentum shifting just a tad. And they don't want this game to get any closer than it already is.
With the exception of Illinois Wesleyan, this Carthage team hasn't given up more than 9 goals in a game in April. Except for the Cardinals.
That says something about the way this Cardinal team has battled here today, considering they scored none in the second quarter.
Two flags are lying on the field right now. And the ball taken away by North Central, and a whistle blows to stop play. Tough to tell who's leaving the field right now. I haven't been able to get the number.
I think it might have been Huizinga.
You might be right. Yeah, you're right. It's number 12 in the penalty box right there. 8:09 to go, 15-10. Redmond patiently passing it around. And the ball knocked loose, and Fitzgerald with it.
A good job there with a man down to stop any sort of attack that they may have had.
Battle for it at midfield, and Huizinga gets it across, but it is taken away by Carthage. And simply too easy for Poitras. Scampers right in there and puts a stamp on the back of the twine. 16-10.
And that's a Redmond goal by number 41, Colin Poitras.
Well, the Cardinals nearly made this a real interesting game. They were trailing 15-10 and were playing in a man up. Make that a 4-goal game, and that makes Carthage probably breathe a little heavier.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seemed as though Huizinga may have been a little amped up on adrenaline after his goal, and that was just a bad pass.
Ray won the faceoff and then gave it right to Poitras, who scores his second straight, and that, well, if it wasn't already somewhat over, I think we've hit the point. 17-10 with 6:54 to go.
Yeah, those two goals are killers for any momentum that the Cardinals were trying to build, which after a couple of interesting sequences to bring the game to a 15-10, it seemed like they might grab hold of it, but that pretty much seals the deal on anything they may have had going.
That might have been Tominari on the turnover, by the way, not Ray, as a flag flies. And has there been a timeout taken? Oh no, just a massive substitution. Weaver, and that one's high and out of play. foot with it. Gives off to Peril. Huizinga over the middle. James was the intended target, and it did not complete its journey. .550 go in the fourth. Myers' pass taken away. Maybe. Carthage ball. Last we checked, the women's team had an advantage over the Carroll's women's team, and that looks like it will hold up, I think. Not sure how much time's remaining, but right now North Central leads 10-7. And just scored again to make it that 10-7 score. I can imagine it's late in the game. It was 10 minutes to play, and that was about 15 minutes ago, so there has to be only a few minutes remaining. That one's lofted back towards play and into the stick of Cost. Under 5 to go here. And a ball found its way back out onto the field. Had to stop play for that. Goal scorers today for the Cardinals: 4 for Tommy Huizinga, 3 for Jared Weaver, 1 for Danny Boyle, 1 for Noah Peril, 1 for Nick Pardo. It's been a pretty balanced scoring load for Carthage: 3 for Zune, 2 for Ilstrup, 6 for Poistras, excuse me. The Carthage team just seemed to outmatch the Cardinals.
Yeah, it seemed like an evenly matched game in the first quarter. Really good, 5-5 at the end. And even after the second quarter, it was still within reach. 8-5 is surely more than, well, it's within reach is what I'm trying to say. And then the third quarter hit, and things just the wheels kind of fell off, and Cardinals just had no answer.
That's exactly it.
Redmond found the goal back of the net a couple of times, and they got on a roll, and next thing you know, you're down by 7.
Huizinga to the middle, and James left it behind. Or maybe he didn't even find his stick, as Rodriguez now has it. Under 4 to go. Taken away by NCC. Tanner James does not get on the scoreboard. And James draws a flag with 3:37 to play. I don't know what it was that the Carthage bench was exploding over, but they seemed excited about something.
I'm not sure. I didn't even notice.
Cardinals will get the restart on the far side of the field. And the pass intercepted and being fought for, and now it's Cardinal ball. that one's off the side of the cage. Gavin Foote missing. And even 3 minutes left to go here in the fourth quarter. And Pardo just got a flag. Carthage just gonna sit and wait it out, I think.
Yeah, at this point, it's pretty much over. It's a 7-goal deficit and a delayed penalty, which even if the Cardinals do get the ball, they're gonna
give it right back.
So the Redmen just deciding to kind of wait this out.
Women's team looks like they're on their way to a victory, and should that be the case, we'll have another broadcast, I believe, on Wednesday, May 2nd at 7 o'clock. Against who? I don't know. We'll find out. But they should be one of the top 2 seeds with a win today and then host that game on Wednesday. So, at the minimum, this is not the last broadcast of the year. That's a good thing. Unfortunately for the men's team, it will not be them who we will be broadcasting. In fact, I don't believe they are postseason bound. It's been an up and down year for them. They've suffered some big losses. They got off to a slow start. But they were still in position to make the postseason with a win today, and they were even in a position to make the postseason after a quarter. But things seem to fall apart, and that's where we find ourselves right now, a 17-10 score with 1:35 to go.
And the thing is about this team is that you saw flashes from them throughout the year of just how good they could be. And it's not like they play poor defense or they play poor on offense. It's just perhaps some inconsistencies amongst the defense and offense that they may need another year to work on. So they'll take what they've learned from this season, and being able to put yourselves in a position to make the postseason is it's nothing to laugh at. It's a good accomplishment for these players, and it gives them some more experience to bring to the table next year.
1 minute remaining. 1 minute remaining.
Last minute of the men's lacrosse team's season. And it's going to end with a goal from Brody Ilstrup to make it an 18-10 score as he strikes a pose. As Carthage will remain dancing.
That's a Redmond goal by number 23.
So it'll be Augustana and Carthage, the final 2 teams in the conference tournament, led by Illinois Wesleyan and Carroll. Or Elmhurst. So Wesleyan, Elmhurst, Carthage, Augustana, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the CCIW. Cardinals get left on the outside looking in. 48 ticks left as we've hit 3 o'clock here in Naperville. This is where pride kicks in. You don't want to give up yet another goal. Half a minute. Want to thank our production team today. Tim Bachlita back at the NCTV 17 studios. Sean Laban here, our on cameraman and producer, alongside Zach Bucher, who's been with me all season long. I'm Kevin Jackman. I've had a lot of fun calling men's lacrosse this year. And when Wednesday comes, I potentially could be the last broadcast of the entire school season. School year, I should say. It's been a fun 2017-2018 calendar year.
That it has, and it's been a pleasure to work with you.
It has. We've seen some fun stuff. The men's basketball team was competitive this year. The women's team was going through a rebuild, but hopefully we'll come out on the other side next year. Football team made a fun run. And these two lacrosse teams have been pretty good to watch. And, of course, volleyball, the men and the women competing pretty hard in the 2017-2018 years. With all that said, we're going to say so long. We'll see you Wednesday, though. That's the good news. 7 o'clock start. The women's team will take on a TBA in the conference tournament. Until then, I'm Kevin Jackman saying so long from NCTV 17.